Understanding the dynamics of soil phosphorus is absolutely essential if we're going to make progress in sustainable phosphorus management. There are huge supplies of phosphorus sitting in the soil, in the Earth's system. On the one hand, we're mining all the rock phosphate, but actually there's huge supplies of it sitting in the soil. What we need to do is work out ways of tapping into those supplies in the soil, actually working how we can get at the complex forms, the inositol phosphates, and use different enzymes to break them down so plants can use what's in the soil. So actually we can be more sustainable with its usage.
Well, we do need to understand the phosphorus cycle. In our agriculture, we've been very dominated in understanding the inorganic phosphorus cycle, and understanding the organic cycle is just fundamentally important, because ultimately it's the organic cycle that is actually driving the whole system.
It's important to understand better how is cycled the phosphorus once it's in the soil, it has been used by the plants and microorganisms. And because one day or one other we will run out of phosphorus, so we have to reuse what will be dispersed in the soil. And so it's really important to understand better the mechanisms and the process which are working for recycling better the used phosphorus.
To understand some of these really important issues concerning phosphorus, we have to understand how phosphorus is moving in the environment, how it's taken up by plants, how it's escaping from soil and moving through soils into watercourses. And so we have to have information on the forms of phosphorus, the dynamics of phosphorus, how it's moving in the environment. And once we have that information, that underpins efforts to tackle some of these major issues concerning phosphorus at the global scale.
For agricultural use, we moved from this low nutrient systems in the past to really high nutrient systems. So our varieties moved to situations where we have a lot of all nutrients. So they're very lazy plants. Now we have to move back. But that's really hard, because farmers, they don't want to have lower productivity and we have more people to feed. So we need our knowledge and increased knowledge on how we can create crops that can use and utilize this organic phosphorus that is locked up in the soils. And we need a lot more information what is needed.
Well, if we can better manage phosphorus in the environment, then we can reduce inputs and hopefully close the cycle so that we can still have the same yields without the environmental consequences.
Well, I think this is the major goal of this conference, this workshop, because we are looking at organic phosphorus, and organic phosphorus in soil is a pool that is not always well exploited by plants, by crops. And for sure, by knowing a bit more of the dynamics of the processes in soils, maybe we can achieve a better use of the resources and not, for instance, use too much fertilizers.
Well, I mean, it's all about improving the efficiency. The use efficiency of phosphorus in soil plant systems is actually very low. You know, somewhere between 70 to 90% of the phosphorus that's put into a soil plant every year isn't used that year, you know. So it's this idea you're constantly topping things up. So in terms of improving the efficiencies, if we can improve it by 10% across, that would make a big difference, because that would mean we'd have to put more than 10% less in to get the same production. I mean, if you put less in, you'll get less production in most systems. But so what you're trying to do is put less in, but maintain the production. So therefore you have to look at the fundamentals of the system that you're using, and that's basically your plants, how you're going to use them to improve the efficiency.
The way we do agriculture right now is not really based on science, and I think if we understand better interactions, we can actually develop technologies based on this and find, for example, ectomycorrhiza or arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi that help plants acquiring phosphorus, and that would allow us to maintain high productivity and at the same time decrease the phosphorus inputs into the system. So this would kind of be the aim.